All right, good morning, everybody. A little change of scenery here. In the lineup for the ferry, going to Vancouver Island. Got some work to do today. Unfortunately, it's not a lot of work for a lot of driving and waiting. So we got a couple hours to wait for the ferry, then about an hour and a half ferry ride, and then probably about an hour work. So it's a long day, but it is what it is. I today wanted to talk a bit about gut health. Now, this is my take. Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. And I am not a doctor. This is my opinion. And, the purpose of this channel is to question everything and challenge what they say. So we're going to do that. And now there is something that's going kind of like all over the place with gut health. Now, is it important? Yes, it's very important. It is my belief that it is probably one of the most important things you can address with your health. But the severity of your condition or your status of your gut health is very debatable. Now, we know that, like, from past videos, that anything that's driven by a financial agenda, I urge you to take some caution. Nothing's just easily fixed. It's not there's no magic pill. So you have to be very skeptical about what kind of nutrients you're going to be taking, specifically if you're already inflamed or have leaky gut, which is a real thing. Leaky gut is a very real thing, and what it is the tight junctions in your gut are bonded together tightly with the proteins, and they're called tight junctions. And what happens with a leaky gut is those things get a little bit looser, and what that does is it allows the bad things to traverse the intestinal wall into your bloodstream or lymphatic system, and can cause some distress, harm, even pain, inflammation, an immune response, lots of different things. So what do we do about it? Well, it's my belief that once you have, it's like trying to put out a fire with a pack of matches. You can't just add something and expect it to heal when you haven't changed anything about why it's damaged in the first place. So what we want to think about that. And if you're suffering from a leaky gut, which is extremely possible, I mean, a lot of people probably don't realize how crucial this is. But how do we fix it? Well, it's a protein and it's tissue. So what would probably make sense to me would be to strengthen the tissue and give your body the building blocks it needs to heal. So if you're eating a hyper processed, super junk food diet, taking a bunch of probiotics probably isn't going to do much. You have to address the whole issue, why it happened in the first place. And then you have to realize that you're going to have to heal. Now, there's different ways to do that. People say bone broth. There's also something called the GAPS protocol, which is very interesting. And they believe that it starts with meat stock. Now, the difference between bone broth and meat stock is meat stock, you take a fatty, maybe even a cheaper cut, like a pot roast chunk of meat or a full chicken, boil it till the meat is like, you can pull it off with a fork, and then you drink that stock. Drink it liberally, drink it as much as you want. And what it does is it gets all those gelatinous collagen and connective tissues in the stock, and you can start the process of healing. But if you're still drinking pop, if you're still eating grains and a lot of sugar, well, then it comes into question how severe your condition is. So what I'm urging you to do is to not listen to the status quo out there and say probiotics are a godsend and high fiber this and high fiber that. You got to this place, and there are certain things that you have to address, or else it's going to probably be for naught. taking a bunch of probiotics when you have an environment in your gut where you're cultivating good bacteria, and the bacteria that are supposed to be there and are beneficial to you thrive. Now the bad bacteria that feed on the sugar and all the crap, they kind of, if you got a balance between them, they're gonna win, and that might change the beneficial bacteria into the bad bacteria. So we can get into the weeds with this, and I don't want to do that. I just want you to realize that healing is a lot different than maintaining. So there's a lot of things that happen when you have a leaky gut, and it can be from inflammation, some arthritis, skin rashes, dry scalp, and it's all, remember, like we talked about, like it's all the communication between your body is phenomenal. And then there's something called the vagus nerve, which is from your brain to your gut, and it is very sensitive. And that comes down to the myelin sheath of your nerves, glycated sugar. It's all relative, right? So cut out the crap, eat whole food. That's the first start. Before you go and invest in a bunch of probiotics and supplements and pills, understand that there's mechanisms at play that you have to address. Now, I would be on the side of collagenous connective tissue, fatty meat, bone broth, meat stock, and very cooked vegetables if you're going to eat them. I mean, you know how I feel about that, but fiber is arguable. I mean, people go one way or the other. There's a lot of people out there that say fiber is essential, more fiber, small chain fatty acids and stuff. But when you have to heal, you have to think about what is actually causing the harm. And just adding stuff doesn't necessarily mean you're healing. So I would cook my vegetables very thoroughly, stay away from like the fiber stuff, like the hard nuts, grains. And this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm just trying to help. And it starts with if you want to get back to basics, meat stock, bone broth. Some people have an irritation to bone broth, and it can cause an immune response or a histamine response. So start off with meat stock. Just boil meat. That's it. Fish, chicken, pork. Use like a knuckle where there's some collagenous thing or some fatty cuts of meat. You can put vegetables in it if that's your thing, but cook the vegetables and then eat them sort of mushy. And you can check out the GAPS protocol online. Just Google the GAPS protocol and it will come up to, there is a way to heal, and they're getting results with this stuff. And I was thinking about, once I'm finished my nutrition school, and going to become a GAPS coach, because I think it's great. I mean, it's good stuff down in the GAPS protocol, and it connects your gastrointestinal tract, gastrointestinal connection to your brain. And there's some good it's hearty, it's healthy. It's almost like grandma's, what grandma would do if you were hurting. And so also remember that there's something called peristalsis, which is all your muscles contract basically naturally, and that brings the food through your gastrointestinal tract. So that's a muscle. That's muscular contraction. Even though it's involuntary, it's doing it. So electrolytes come into play. Now, dehydration and electrolytes kind of get tricky. We don't want to get too in the weeds, but making sure that you're hydrated, which means your minerals are there with sodium. We'll get into that. I believe sodium is one of those very, very subjective topics, but a lot of good quality sea salt. That's what you want. You want the stuff that was mined, the minerals there before there was pollution in the ocean, is probably the best. And then you look at your potassium, which held in your cells a little bit more. Sodium kind of comes and goes, but sodium and potassium, there's something called a sodium potassium pump that opens up and lets things in and out of the cell. So vitally important to energy. And magnesium lets it all happen. So those things, and of course calcium. But if you're eating cheese, dairy, bone broth, and even some marrow, the calcium should be okay. But yes, and then calcium revolves around vitamin K2 and vitamin D. So we know how we feel about those, but these are all things to take in consideration. And remember, the balance and the dance of your body all reflects on certain things. So don't just go out and think one thing is adding one thing and not changing anything is gonna, it's probably not gonna do, it's not gonna optimize your condition. So gut health is very, very, very serious. And the way to heal your gut, unfortunately, is very subjective. And you don't want to just listen to them. Anybody who's making money. Probiotics are very questionable. I mean, yes, there probably is a lot of benefits to them, but can your gut handle them, and will they actually assimilate to your diversity? I mean, people say eat the rainbow for diversity. People say eat fiber, diversity. I would question that, and I would focus on tissue. And what is tissue? Is protein, collagen, gelatin, that kind of stuff heals you. That's healing. It gives you the building blocks to actually start the healing process. Then you worry about your microbes and cultivate good bacteria, trying to eliminate some of the bad stuff. And it will come naturally with, if you cut out sugar and you cut out grains, this stuff probably will take a while, but you might have some distress down there, because when you shake the tree inside your body, sometimes toxins, sometimes things come out, and you might get a little worse before you get better. So if you need some help, by all means, comment below. And this is my take on it. I wish everybody a healthy, happy gut. And there's a lot of information out there, but just be very skeptical about what is good for you. And your situation is different than a lot of people's. There's no textbook. There is no quick fix. And the severity of your condition will depend on how you want to go about healing it. And it's really good to listen to your body. So if you're feeling some distress down there, there's probably a reason, and it's probably gut related. In fact, a lot of things probably are gut related, and we just don't even realize it. And our bodies are so used to surviving and being adaptable, we don't know how it feels to be optimal. And that should be your goal, optimal health, optimal feeling. And there's things that you can do that are easy, that don't require a lot of sacrifice. But there are some things, and depending on your situation, you might have to sacrifice a little bit to get righteous, right? That's the idea. We want you feeling great every day, waking up feeling great. That is the goal. And if I can help you, like I said, comment below. Shoot me an email. Yes, this is we're going to keep learning together, and good luck with everything, and hopefully your day is great. Please like and subscribe these, and if you want, share it with somebody that might use this information to their benefit. And I'm here to help, and hopefully everybody's having a great Friday. Take care.